think, I think knowing the nightmare would give everybody the perspective we all need.
Yeah.
Um, but later, because we're gonna talk joy first.
We're going to talk joy first. And it's also the same thing about publishing books now. I mean, I see almost every day on Substack some poor schlub of an author like me saying something like, you realize what it's
Where's the mute button?
do you realize what a terrible world the world of publishing is now? Like it was my dream to publish a cookbook. Oh, here I do. I did. Um, but you have to be in such a place to make your book, I don't know, a complete bestseller these days. So
Yeah, it's interesting. I think publishing just doesn't it's similar in Hollywood, I will say too, but publishing just doesn't know what it's doing. Like, they don't know what works. They don't know really why Yesteryear is by my editor published that too,
Mhm.
so she's feeling good. They don't know why a book like that, like, takes off. Yeah, it's a subject matter, trad wipes, but also, like, it's a juggernaut. They just have and they have no idea why it happened or how to capture that secret sauce. It's like, a book which has since come through its own, let us say, reevaluation.
Mhm.
The Lovely Bones, same thing. I being this monster hit, and no one could really figure out why.
Right.
And publishing is now just like, they kind of look to the author to do everything. And what I didn't realize when came out 2 weeks ago, that, most writers I know wait, I think someone has to mute, right? No? Most writers I know, who you see in the press have hired publicists. I didn't know that you're supposed to do that. But now basically you're supposed to hire your own publicist to the tune of like 5 to
20,000.
10 yeah, it's 5 to 10 a month,
Yeah.
and it takes months. I'm not gonna do that. Um, so it's just a very weird market. Nobody knows anything. They do things that like a friend of mine, a beloved friend of mine was like, "I don't understand why my book didn't crack the list. It was in the roundup of people's 5 most anticipated books." And I thought, "When's the last time anybody read People?" I mean, guys, when's the last time any of you read People?
Yeah.
Any of
Anybody
you
out
read
there who's
People?
read People outside of a doctor's office?
Not even in a doctor's office. I was just, because I'm ill, at the doctor's office. They didn't even have magazines because they don't want
No.
people touching magazines. Everyone's just on their phone. So I think publishing is in this state, and you publish a book and you think, okay, well, that means people are going to read it. And it's just sort of a mystery how it all happens. But
But I'm grateful
then,
that but then you hear from people who have bought your book or done whatever, and it's just the most incredible,
totally.
satisfying feeling. So thank you all, you people
Yes.
out there. Um,
That's, like, what gets you through is just the odd person who sends you an email and says, "I had a horrible cold, and you kept me company all day, and thank you." So that's, like, my favorite thing in the world.
yeah.
You know what? There's a line in one of my books, a book called Red Hook Road, that people, um I don't know how many, 'cause a few have reached out to me, but at least a few have read at weddings.
Wow.
I mean, right?
God.
That's reason enough to keep doing this.
Mhm.
Plus, I never would have met you.
Right back at you. We like each other. It's very nice. Um, okay, we have hit a very nice number, a round number of 100 here. So, the Kindle algorithm suggests books to me now. Yes, Tammy, it's true. When I'm listening to something, I get all these books suggested to me, and some are winners and some are not.
Yeah,
Please.
Audible algorithm has succeeded every once in a while. Like, I will
Oh,
say, because I listen to a lot of Audible or also Libby and Libro. Those are the sort of less
yep.
evil empire versions of that. Libby's from the library. Do you guys all know this, that you can get audiobooks for free from the library? You have to wait for a new book, but still. And, I think that algorithm actually sort of seems to get me more. Like, it'll
Mhm.
suggest something I might actually wanna read.
Yep. And it's great that you can do it through your library. I can't recommend it enough. And the bookstore that I'm associated with here in beautiful Montclair, New Jersey, Watchung Booksellers, is always recommending Libro as your place to get your
Yeah,
books from, because it supports independent booksellers. Let's all
exactly.
give a moment, quiet moment for the independent bookseller. Long may they wait. Um, So that was
They're
our
doing, there's been a renaissance now of independent booksellers. I've been, traveling around the country, and there are amazing new independent bookstores that have opened up recently that are like, this whole thing about the third space, third space, third space, since everybody
Mhm.
wants to like, everybody's afraid to leave their house, but at the same time they want to leave their house, they don't know where to go. So, there have been bookstores popping up in unlikely places as these kind of third spaces where people will go and they'll go to an event and they'll go hang out. And that's actually really lovely. I love that.
I love it too.
To
And,
all those people who thought Book Passage today was gonna be their first space, I'm sorry. You don't wanna be near me.
yeah, anybody you can um, okay, so we here have started off with a prayer for our independent bookstores, and I think that's about as good a way as we can. If anybody here has any questions, thoughts, or comments, please put them into the live chat here on the right. Um, we are here for your comments. Along with talking about a few things today, I wanted to make, and I still will, some scones because um,
Oh,
I made some sort of monster-sized scones yesterday. I wanna show you what they look like now. Here they are. This
look
is
how pretty.
it's not very light here. Oh, I'm licking my fingers. I could
It's
put a
like
light on.
caramel?
It's a brown sugar, butter glaze, and it has fresh peaches in it, and it's about as light as a light thing on a really, really light day, made with butter and heavy cream. So it's a beautiful light, almost like, you
What do
can
you
make
put on
this.
your scone, Marissa? When you make a scone, do you put butter on it? Do you put whipped cream? Like, how do you clotted cream? What do you eat with your
A
scone?
scone like this, I may eat naked. Not me naked, the scone naked. Although they are that good, you might wanna eat them naked. Judy cakes, I will be posting the recipe, after this on my Substack, so that's where it will be. Um, if it's a plain old, like, British scone, butter and jam. I mean, if there's clotted cream around, I'm doing that, obviously. But I really like butter because it's salty and it adds a
Yeah.
nice peps it up. Um, and I was going to make you peach stones like I have here, but somebody ate the last peach in my house. It was not William Carlos Williams. So I don't know. I decided chocolate chips, which is my signature.
Okay.
Okay, so why did we come here today? How did this conversation come about limerence?
I think we started talking about this a little bit in the last time we spoke because we were talking about that feeling like we're women of a certain age. You're
Mm,
certain is little younger than my certain.
thank you.
And
I mean, is it
we're
so?
in we're in long marriages. How long have you been married for?
31 years.
Yeah, so we got married in 1993. So
Yep.
33 years. And what vanishes in a long marriage is not love, not desire, but limerence really goes because limerence is not that kind of incredible, contented, secure, mature love. Limerence is like a hysterical longing for an unrequited object.
Mm.
And, it's both painful and wonderful the way it can feel, really good to pick a scab, right? It's painful, but it's also, delightful.
Deeply satisfying.
Now
Hey,
everybody's,
kids.
like, so grossed out while we talk about scones and scabs. So we started talking about that, like, what of the things and we started talking and this is the last time I promise I'll do this, because limerence was one of the emotions I was trying to engender in this book, and I had these 2 characters who desperately wanna be together, who, because of circumstances, can't, and that longing is a feeling I have loved in pretty much all of the media I consume. So we were gonna talk about 3 sort of loci of limerence. One is Persuasion, the novel
Mm,
by Jane Austen. Love. You reread
love.
it, right?
Yes, I did.
Isn't it just everything?
And I also listened to it, and I think the same person who read it, she read it she's also done the audiobook for nothing. I swear to God, this is not on purpose, but she also read your book too.
Yes, yes. That's just so Juliet Stevenson, she's an actress who I've loved forever. She was in Truly, Madly, Deeply. Remember that movie?
Yeah, I that
Also,
talk about
really about, like,
that's a
grief and in a way, like, longing and I mean, it's about grief and longing. I wonder if it's, like, the opposite of limerence. It's like longing for something gone. Um, I she does all the Jane Austens, all the, George Eliot's. You guys
uh,
have to listen to anything she's ever, she's ever recorded. She's just the best narrator out there, and when they were choosing a narrator for A Perfect Hand, I said, I know you guys are not gonna agree, but how about Juliet Stevenson? And they were like, "Sure, if she wants to do it." So they sent her the book. She loved it. She reads it. She's so good. Oh my god, she's so good. But in Persuasion, she's just fucking masterful. All the different girls' voices, she reads them totally differently, right?
Yeah, and she has Mary down just so.
So well, so well, so well. So did anybody else read Persuasion in anticipation, or has anybody else read Persuasion?
Raise your hands. I can't see your hands, so
In
just
the
say it
chat.
in the um, so we're talking about Persuasion as our kind of something old,
Something old, yeah.
and then something, well, I don't know if I can do this, but anyway, something a little blue. Heated rivalry. I
Oh,
use the word
good, good.
thank you.
Alright.
And, 4 weddings and a funeral.
Not that new.
Not that new.
Have you seen Hugh Grant lately? Not that
Not
new.
that new. Um, so we wanted to kind of I find that Limerence plays and then I don't think my husband's on this call right now, but, plays a very important role in the things that I enjoy consuming now, and maybe it is because of the beautiful age I have reached, but for exactly those reasons.
Yeah.
I'm in a lovely, lovely, wonderful, warm 31-year-old marriage, and I couldn't nothing is more wonderful than that. But there's nothing that compares to that feeling of intensity when you first find some focus of your passions.
I mean, I wonder, I have a couple of friends now who've become poly because it's all the rage, and, I was thinking about that, and that's what they say. They're like, "Oh, well, you say that you long for limerence and you watch Teenage Rivalry 11 times. What you just need to do is become poly and sleep with, some guy you met on Field." And I was just like,
No.
not that there's anything
Not
wrong with it. There's
it's
not
just not for me.
different strokes for different folks is what I say.
Yes.
Like, I don't need to take this situation out on the road. It's, you know,
That's exactly my
um,
feeling. I'm like, this is very happy at home. Thank
yeah, this is fine. I don't need to do any explanations.
you.
Oh, I had 4 C-sections, and when you slice through the abdominal muscles, the fascia doesn't really heal, so that's why there's this huge flap that goes from hip to hip, and it's really nothing you can do about. Like, no, I don't need to have that conversation.
Exactly.
I can just, stay home with the person that I enjoy sleeping with. But it is I don't think there's anything wrong. I think it's actually kind of an exhilarating thing to chase that sensation.
Mhm.
And I really do. I feel like it's why Persuasion of all Jane Austen's books is so clearly my favorite. Um, and it's not as funny. It has her wit, but it's not as
Sure.
funny as some of the others. Like, it doesn't eviscerate the characters in the same way. A little bit,
A little
not
bit.
in the same way as, say, Emma or Pride and Prejudice, but it just does something for me. It does something to experience
Do
that like sense of bel- ache, the ache.
who do you think owns the ache more, if you can say that? Captain Wentworth or
That's a really good question.
or,
I
oh,
always think of women aching.
I
That
think
Anne is aching. But, he sure is aching. I mean, of course he's aching, he's longing, and he's angry, right?
yeah.
He's been betrayed, he feels so, like, but of course he isn't over her. So I would say that's a really interesting question. I don't know, what do you think?
I think, she is so wonderfully British at sort of tucking away her feelings, and occasionally they'll pop out. I think for him, it's all simmering there in the background in a very sort of British way that if he got a little bit too drunk and her, like, near her, he would let it all show. But, I mean, he also writes that note to her finally, and that sort of
Mhm.
oozes I should have written it down,
Yes.
the quote, but it just, like, he lets it all hang out there.
Right.
And, I think he himself goes through like there are stages of limerence, like there's stages of grief. And the
Right, and
last
he
state,
spends a lot of it in the anger stage. I mean, I think for a man particularly, there's this kind of like that limerence. Like there's a period of anger, which is probably quite dangerous in real life. It's probably quite a dangerous thing.
yes,
Unrequited longing and feeling, let's e.g. incels, right?
yeah.
But
Um,
but in the
inter-
universe of a Jane Austen book where everyone actually behaves like a gentleman, it isn't something we need to be concerned about. Um,
and I have actually read that there's a there 'cause
Sorry, I can't find the mute button. Where is
the
it?
mute button is over. If you look where the little audio button is there on the bottom left,
Yeah.
you can click on that, and I think it will mute you. Anyway, let us know if we need to call 911 on you. Hi, we didn't know what you were doing. She limerence and stalking. I did read an article about it, and apparently limerence and stalking are not the same thing. Stalking is
So
when it all
what's
goes
the
wrong.
distinction?
Well, stalking is when it becomes very personal. It's all about you, and you feel entitled, like an incel, to this person. And
Interesting.
limerence can end in either dissolution or resolution. So I think Captain Wentworth and Anne are sort of teetering on it, like having been in dissolution, and then there's resolution.
Resolution. And then when you think of Four Weddings and a Funeral, which is it? This movie's like what, 30 years old? We can do spoilers, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I hope so. Anybody not want any spoilers from Four Weddings and a Funeral?
Just put
Please
your
let us
hands
know.
over your
Also,
because really,
I don't think they're really like even within the first 5 minutes of the movie, you know what's going on. Maybe after the
yeah,
fuck, 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 fuck,
yeah,
the best opening of any movie, then you realize what's going to happen in the movie because it's a rom com. You know.
right. There's no way they're not going to end up together. But there's this what I think that portrays neatly, thinking about what you just said, is it has both dissolution
Hmm.
and resolution, right?
Yeah.
So in the fourth wedding, it's over. He's given up. He's moved beyond
Yep.
his limerence object. He has grown up. He has matured. He has found a wife like he's supposed to do because that's what grown-ups do. And then but then one look and all comes crashing down again.
Right. Do you
And
think?
so go, go.
No, please.
No, you.
Well, I was going to say, because I like to talk a lot. Do you find Andy McDowell a viable character in it,
She's
or doesn't it?
fine.
Just fine.
And here's the thing. Yes, I think she's charming. Do I think she's a good actress? No.
She has
Um,
marvelous curly hair, though. I
she has
based my
great
curly hair
hair.
on her.
And here's the thing, I don't think it matters. Like, I don't think it actually matters. I was having, a conversation with someone who I'm trying a very good friend who I'm trying to decide if I can maintain a friendship with because she's so she's filled with hate for heated rivalry, and I just don't know
Oh,
if we can I don't know if we can be together anymore. I just don't know. I don't know. And, she was ranting and raving about how, one of the actors can't act. And I disagree, first of all, but second of all, I was like, "Well, even if you think that, what difference does it make? What difference does it make? Like, aren't you there for the emotion you feel? Whatever is happening, the story is engendering in you that sense of, like, longing." And in that specific case, um, similarly to the other 2 examples, because you know what you bought, you know you're in a Jane Austen novel, you know you're not in a Georgia Eliot
exactly.
novel. You know you're in Four Weddings and a Funeral, you're not in an A24 rom-com, right? Um, can you imagine? Um, so because you're there, you know you're going to end in resolution. What difference does it make at like, if you have quibbles with someone's, method technique? I mean, like, I don't know, does it bother you? Do what do other people think of her, Andy McDowell's acting? And don't say anything against Shane in the comments because I'll just have to leave right away. I'll just have to leave. I'm not here for
So please let us know what you think there in the comments, and also how many I also wanna know how many people on this call have watched Heated Rivalry, and how many people have decided that they just would never watch Heated Rivalry because I want to change your mind.
That's
So
really important. It's a public service,
this is
and we have to it's so fun my mom I don't is your mom's still alive, right? Marissa, no. So my mom is in her mid-80s, and she's a huge was a huge TV watcher,
right?
PBS primarily. That's where I learned my love of the costume drama. That's probably why I wrote A Perfect Hand because, watching, like, Upstairs, Downstairs with her and
Yes.
watching, all of those, like, Tom Brown School Days. I mean, that's actually really kinky. Do any of you remember Tom Brown School Days? There's
No,
little,
but
like, buggering in boarding school with all these little boys. Like, when I think about it now, I'm just like, "Was that public television?" But,
also, is that okay, or is that just a British thing, and that
yes.
makes it
Oh,
okay?
buggery, buggery, buggery.
Oh, buggery, everyone
Um,
does that.
ugh, North Park. Just hang in and we'll explain to you why.
Yeah.
But so just finishing this about my mom. But she also was a huge reader. She went to Swarthmore College, and she never tires of telling people. She can insert that into any conversation. When she took me on that college tour, by the way, we pulled up at Swarthmore, and she parked the car, and I sat there, and I wouldn't get out
Yeah, yeah,
to
yeah.
spite her.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, lovely kid I was. Anyway, but she stopped reading. I couldn't even get her to watch Heated Rivalry, and she grew up in Canada, and the only she reads the New York Times, but we're, like, cover to cover every day, but I'm really not sure how much she assimilates from it. She's now, turning 86. She watches MSNBC
Oh, yeah, that's what killed my mother.
day and night.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it kinda breaks my heart because I feel like there's only one emotion engendered by MSNBC and other news shows, which is outrage and despair. Okay, those are 2, outrage, despair.
And despair, yeah. But they
And
try and put a positive spin on some things. I mean, there are people out there like
yeah,
Joyce Vance and stuff, who say some
yeah.
nice things, yeah.
I just wish I could get her on the Limerence bandwagon because I feel like that would add it just gives you it's nice to expand your range of emotional experience on a day-to-day basis, which I know I'm being defensive because I have now watched Heated Rivalry all the way through 11 times, but I will tell you,
Mm.
I'm done. I thought, "Alright, I'm sick. I'm just gonna go to bed. I'll just watch Cheetah Rock." Turns out 11 was the
11
magic
is
number.
that the magic number? I think my daughter is not up to 11 yet, but she's the one who sat with me, and watched it with me,
Ooh,
just
that's
because
interesting.
yeah, it was weird, but, because there's so much sex in it, people, in case you're wondering, a lot of sex. Um, I would just kinda look down at my phone to be sort of coy. It was like watching I, Claudius with my parents on PBS.
So wait, I have a question. So you're watching
Yeah.
the episode where, the Elia pulls Shane's legs up like this because he's going to be eating out his ass before
I did not see
fucking
that part
him
with I did
next to your daughter you're watching.
no,
How
I
was
did
that
not
for you? How was that for her?
that was that part of the episode we did not watch together. I watched half of them with her and half of them without. Um, yeah, and there were moments where I just would look down at my phone. Anyway, um, you left me sort of speechless, because there
Oh,
were
yeah, really? It was
yeah,
like talking about eating out ass that just kinda derailed you from your topic? Go
I'm
on,
sad.
please. Continue.
Should I
Don't let me distract you.
should I make scones now?
Yes, go do some
The
whipping
first
up
thing
of
I
that.
wanted to say was to all our heated rivalry friends. Well, okay, talk to me. The first time you watched Heated Rivalry, I'd like to know what you thought, and were you like, God, I have to watch this again? Why?
So the first time I watched my daughter had been trying to get me to watch it for she actually heard about it when it was um in production about to air in Canada. It only got picked up by HBO at the very last minute.
Hmm.
And so she texted me right away and she said, "Oh my god, that Canadian show that I was telling you about, it's gonna air simultaneously on HBO and you have to watch it, you have to watch it." And then like for days after it aired, she was like, "Mom, mom, 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 mom." And I just kept saying what everybody said, just was like, "Ugh, I don't want to watch I don't want to watch a show about cocky." And also, if you make
Did you
TV,
say
you have this
cocky or hockey?
cocky? What about cock? Well, okay, so first of all, because if you know anything about hockey players, if you've grown up in a snowy place,
Right.
they're not necessarily the object of your limerence. They're like a bunch of toothless guys, like I said, I have 4 brothers, 3 of whom played hockey, and cousins and all that, and, uh, not like the average hockey player, NHL player is not gonna, cause you to melt into your panties. Um, but then also, it just seemed dumb to me. I was like, "Oh, this is dumb." It's just a dumb
It
story. I
seemed
don't
to
need to
me
watch that.
so dumb. It seemed to me I'm going to get the heavy cream out of the fridge, but it
Oh,
seemed
and
to
will you
me
do me a favor also? I wanna see you push your finger into the butter because I recently saw you looking at someone's cookies that were smushed flat, and you told them that it was because their butter was too warm, and
yes, I
I think we all need the perfect test for the perfect temperature butter.
okay, I will show that, like, next week, or I'll do a Substack Live, and I will show the perfect test for butter. Because as an aside, because, I think we're really given to asides because I think, I
'Cause
don't
we're
know,
distractible and
we're very
menopausal and
distractible, but full of amazing and interesting information, and it's what I would call, "Oh, this is conversation 143B." I don't know if you have people like this, but Ayelet is one of those people where I'm like, "Okay, okay, back to conversation 143C. Okay, right now we're gonna go to conversation 320." So conversation, actually, the conversation we had was all about cookies and why they get all melty. And,
Oh, Jane said wait, about college
yeah.
athletes. Jane, it was my daughter had this incredible attitude about how she went to Wesleyan, so she took Italian 1, and she's like, "Ugh, I'm in Italian 1 with all these hockey players," and they blew her out of the fucking water. She had to drop the class. It was also her, 10th attempt at a different language. I think she tried over the hope she's not here. Um, Spanish, because we live in California, and every kid studies Spanish forever. French,
Yeah.
Japanese, Chinese,
Mm.
uh, and then it was Italian. So it was her 5th she took a year of 4 languages, many years of Spanish, but I don't think she could even ask to go to the bathroom. And, she came in there so snooty about the hockey bros, and they were just like, "Would you like some tutoring, you, hyper intellectual Jewish girl who thinks you're better than us?"
Wait, Lynn, one of the reasons I'm here is because of your previous conversation. Only my daughter has watched Heated Rivalry. She too has watched Heated Rivalry and urged me to watch it. My 2 friends who recommended it said they only watch TV with their husbands, and husbands were totally yeah,
What
I
is
think
it? Is it just that they were like there are men who find the idea of in the first episode, they're gay men who kiss and they're gay men who fuck. And it's interesting to me why so many straight men find that so aggressively repellent. I mean, I feel like if you're super secure in your sexuality, then you not being turned on by 2 people having sex isn't gonna make you be, you know, totally turned off, right?
I
It's like
I
you
do
could
I
be
do I do have the feeling that all the men are just maybe there's some men on here who could discuss this with us, but I do feel it's a concern that they may find themselves having, being like because and this is the reason, like, in the same way that, like, I can watch 2 men falling in love passionately with each other and sit there and go, "Oh my god." Where these guys don't have an interest in me. I don't have an opportunity. There's no chance in on heaven or earth that any of these men will be like, "Hey, hottie, you nice hot Jewish girl from New Jersey who's over
I really
50."
you say that, dude, but every fucking 50-year-old woman I know who's divorced, who's on the apps, is getting hit up again and again by guys in their 20s. Over and over and over again. Every woman in
Really?
her 50s, all of my friends who are out there on their apps, they are hooking up over and over again with guys in their 20s. I have a very did people wanna know my theory? This is so off topic, but do people wanna know my theory about this?
Yes.
Let me see. Is this repellent to you guys, or do you wanna know my theory? Okay, I have to make more tea and honey. Here's my theory. Um, first of
Scammers,
all,
Jane, that's very negative. No, they love
they love guys in their 20s are just in a phase where they're going nuts for older women. And,
is is
I
it
think
some weird
part of
mommy
it
is it a weird mommy thing?
no, I don't get it. I mean, I could be look, I have 0 authority on this. I am making shit up. but I'm making it up. Oh, Thomas Orr. I don't know how old you are. Maybe you can guess.
Help
But
us with
this
this.
guy joins, and I immediately like nail him. So it's first of all, it's a relationship where you don't have to worry about someone wanting to get married, right? You're just hooking up. You're not worried you're gonna like sign on for a lifetime of, or like 4 years of marry me, marry me, marry me. Not number one. Number two,
No babies.
it's no baby. You don't have to worry about that. Number two, you're with someone who actually knows how to get herself off, isn't embarrassed about it, is going to tell you what she likes. And then I think even more importantly, tell you what she doesn't like. So you're not in that hinterland of wondering, "Oh my gosh, is she gonna be upset by this?" It's just we're fucking clear, you know? We don't have anything to lose anymore. We're gonna say, "No, don't do that. I like that," or "Do this. I like this," or so
Mm.
there's just this feeling of, you can fuck without all the fraught tensions that younger people bring to these relationships, and, I think it has that, I think it's relaxing in a way. And then for the women, I keep saying, "Well, what do you get out of it? Like, do you really wanna have a?" I love my children, but I don't like, I
Gross.
talk to some other 25-year-old, and they say, "We don't talk." 'Cause sometimes they're interesting, and we talk too much, and they're, like, asking for advice. I don't want that, but this is, like, purely sexual. It's incredibly satisfying. It's really delightful to be, desired by someone young and hot. So, yeah, it's ubiquitous.
I
It's
think it's also
ubiquitous.
like it would be incredibly reassuring,
Yes.
right?
Just like what I was saying about, like, taking this body out on the road. Like, when I say that about my 4 C-section flap, my friend Anna says to me, "Nobody cares. The 25-year-old I fucked don't care. They don't care about my stomach, and they don't care about my thighs. They just don't they just wanna get laid and have a good time." And,
Wow.
so that must be really
I think we should
reassuring.
have her on the podcast. Um, wow, because
Yeah, let's.
it's very
Let
informative. I also really hope that my son, who's like 2 rooms over, has his
He can't
AirPods
hear
in.
me and really all the disgusting shit's coming out of my mouth. As long as you, like, maintain your firm rule about headphones. By the way, can I just make a recommendation? I don't know if you guys get this on the West Coast, but this is Eli's Bee Company from Santa Monica.
Oh,
Why do the influencers do that? Why do they do that? Like,
they're very good at that.
oh, no, that anyway, this is Eli's Bee Company. It has the best honey I've ever had in my life.
Oh my god. Well, I guess
We
if
got
I lived in
some
Santa Monica, I'd probably be pretty happy bee too. I mean, I just wanna
it
point that out.
we get it I can never remember, every year someone sends it as one of those, like, corporate presents,
Yeah.
like your agent or someone does, and, because our Hollywood career is dribbling to its end, I'm so afraid that there's gonna be a year where I don't get and I'm gonna have to spend the $30 myself to get the wonderful honey.
Well, I will support you. By the way, you have beautiful pajamas. Lynn has added
Thank
that
you.
Kinsey said women reach sexual maturity after menopause.
Is
Mrs.
this really true, though?
Robinson. Mrs.
I mean,
Robinson
yes. I don't
agrees.
even know what that means though, because after menopause, you have to you also achieve vaginal dryness and have to estrogen yourself up.
Yeah, I
I
kind of
felt
want.
pretty sexually mature by the time I was in my 30s. I mean, before that, yeah, but
Please, everyone else, join in with your thoughts. I wanted to. I'm just going to take a little pause from thoughts of vaginal dryness and talk about scones. Um, I just want you all, you know, doing a podcast that talks about like politics and baking for the past 5 years has made me the queen of the great segue. Okay, so back to this. I want to show you the most important part of making a scone. In here, I have a mix of whole wheat flour. I have a mix of and wheat and plain old all-purpose flour. None of you can see what's going on here, probably because the light is really terrible.
it's good. We can see. Don't worry.
Okay, okay, I won't worry then. And then it has.
You don't sift it together, do you, Marissa?
I do. I don't. Well, I don't
Yeah.
sift it, but I whisk it together.
Uh,
I Okay, so there's a huge amount of baking powder in here, there's salt in here, and only 2 tablespoons of sugar. But the most important part is I use, you can use a mixer, like a stand mixer, which I do on the paddle attachment, and you get this mix, you beat in the chunks of butter, you get a mix of different sizes of butter, and they're pretty big. And that is the most important thing that you're gonna do here, other than not overmix once you add the liquid to it.
So you do that with your stand mixer?
I do this with my stand mixer. I mix the dry ingredients together, then I drop in cubes of butter. So I've already cut them up a little bit, and I do not freeze my butter, and that is part of all of my that's sort of who I am as a baker too. So look at these
Wait,
little
why? What's your theory? What's your
well,
opposition to freezing butter?
um, grandma in England, she never froze her butter. Grandma in England still made tender, delicious scones. I
I'm sorry,
feel
you're a British Jew?
I'm not no, but my husband's English.
Okay.
No, no, my father took the boat to the United States. He didn't get to go to England. Um, anyway,
Sorry. Let's go on. Butter.
British grandmas did never did that. People want to make people who are writing recipes want to make things as easy as possible for you, and they wanted to make it as flawless as possible for you. So they say freeze your butter, and that's a great idea. Some of the best people in the world, I'm sure, Rose, if she's still on, Rose Levy Berenbaum, truly the queen of all baking, would say, freeze your butter. I'm lazy. I want scones right away. Um, and I make really beautiful tender scones by just using cold butter, barely touching it. My mixer does all the work, and it's fine. You're going to be fine. I also don't freeze my beaters before I make whipped cream, and my whipped cream is worthy of my Austrian heritage. So, I think we make a lot of fuss over things that don't need to be fussed over, and that, my friends, is a lesson for everything.
So when I make biscuits, I go through this whole rigmarole where I only use frozen butter. I put my beaters, my bowl, my baking dish in the freezer. I run
Yeah,
it back and forth all the time. I count how many times I'm folding it. I
yeah.
think that's all just bullshit.
No, I don't think the counting and folding, like how many times you fold it, is bullshit. And we have from Rose L. Berenbaum herself saying, breaking news, my friends, I've switched to cold butter too. Yay! Thank you, Rose, for
Wow, big
support.
news, Rose.
That is big news. Um, but the folding does really matter. And Kate McDermott, also a queen of butter. Pick your battles, and frozen butter is not one of them. And Kate McDermott is the world's most famous pie crust maker. So next to Rose Levy Berenbaum. So there you go. Um, anyway, don't bother. This way you can have scones in like less than an hour. You know what I mean? Here in this little strange little beaker, everything is out of focus that way. My favorite beaker in the whole world. I've mixed the eggs, the vanilla, and the heavy cream together, all together, much less beating, and sounds like you've never tried it and don't care to, which is fine. I don't care to. I've tried all these things.
Are we talking
I've
about sex or frozen butter?
Yeah, well, I've tried all sorts of things, including
Because
sex and
we were talking about rim jobs a little while ago, and I just don't know whether she's responding to that question or the thing about the butter.
yeah, is this a bit of a late question? No, Carrie Poppy. I have tried all of the different things, and that's why I think that folding it is important when you're making biscuits because you're helping to create layers, but it's not important when you're making scones. Anyway, I've just poured over the ingredients, the liquids, and I'm just going to toss it for a little bit while my mother here, Ayelet, explains to us why heated rivalry is worth watching because we
Wait,
still
you know what
haven't.
I'm gonna do, before I
Yeah,
do that?
yeah.
So my darling husband, remember we were talking in the beginning of this hour about how when you publish a book, oh, look at
Yes,
exactly how much you have to mix it. That's really fascinating. It's so much less than you think.
it's so
Um,
much less.
Writers have to be out there and making their own merch and stuff. So my adorable husband made me these mugs that are tied to a perfect hand, and I happen to have 5 left. So if you go order uh, from Libro or Audible, or you can order from the Big Bad Wolf or bookshop.org or one of your local indies. If you order a copy of my book in any format and email me at ayeletwaldman@gmail.com, the receipt and your mailing address, if you're one of the first five people to do it, I will send you a mug. And if you're not one of the first five people to do it, I will still send you these signed book plates that Michael also made me. Aren't they adorable? So cute. So plugging away. And I know it's so obnoxious. Like I feel the same way you guys do when I see a writer on social media and suddenly they're like, pre-order my book, buy my book. But it actually is so we gotta do it. We don't have a choice or we'll never write again. That's the
Yeah.
sad thing.
Because
All right, now show us the consistency of that dough.
this is the consistency of the dough. This is where I'm going to put my microphone down here and you're going to listen to it slap. Okay. Oh, also, Jane, thanks for asking. I was trying to figure out what frozen butter would do to help vaginal dryness. On next week, on next week's episode, not that topic. But I
No, but
appreciate
I
you
hear
for
coconut
writing it.
oil is really good. That's actually not I'm not just bullshitting. Coconut oil is a very good lubricant. You could keep a jar on the back of your toilet. Just saying, lady.
Also, Astroglide. Anyway, so watch this. Ready? Did you hear that? Look at my fingers. This is how sticky it is. It's really sticky. And because somebody, I don't know who, ate my last peach, like I said, I just added chocolate chips to it. I'm going to try and. Okay,
All right,
here we
I'm
go.
holding in my book because Rose said when you hold up the book, count to 3 before putting it down. 1, 2.
Because I've mixed this so delicately, you can see, you can't really see, can you? This is a terrible situation, but whatever, people.
Just move it a little closer to your belly. The pan.
There we go.
Baby.
Thank you. I used a generous amount of flour, and it's not going to make it bad. It's not going to make it like stiff or sticky, and it just is going to keep it a little nice. So here we have our beautiful, very round, about 3/4 of an inch thick, still all over my fingers. That just shows how moist it should be. You don't want it to be any less than that. I'm going to cut it up, but first I'm going to wash my hands, and Miss Ayelet Waldman will speak to you now. I put this
Oh,
on.
what will I will this is what's called vamping. Once my husband was interviewing Patti Smith on stage and there's like 2,000 people in the audience and they're having this great conversation. And then she said to him, "I'm sorry, I need to pee." And she got up and left and he was like, "I can vamp." And he basically like, was doing everything he could to keep the audience from like and for like 5 minutes, she was preaching. She went, she came back. And then I was like, "Oh my god, that is such a baller move." I hope when I too become old enough to lose a certain amount of continence that I will also, when you gotta go, have the confidence to just walk off the stage and pee.
um,
All
do
right.
so here I'm just cutting them up here into cubes. I'm going to dip it in a little more flour because I'm using a piece of plastic instead of my nice bench knife. I'm using my dough scraper. I'm making these smaller than the last ones because
Where's your other one?
in the dishwasher from yesterday.
Okay.
Don't look at that one, guys. That's the messy one. Okay, so I want to talk about one thing, which is with heated rivalry, there is an extreme amount of it's kind of softcore, I would say.
Yeah.
Um,
Because
it's
I was
soft.
just watching The Wire yesterday,
Yeah,
which is not porn at all. Nobody says it's like, smut.
yeah.
And Marlo Stanfield walked across the screen with his big swinging dick. And God knows we see lots of big swinging dicks on Game of Thrones. So I don't know why this is called smut and that isn't, but I think it's because the sex is not abusive.
Mhm.
It's not It's tender, it's full of limerence, it's like a master class in consent.
It is
Like, I
absolutely
feel like, from now on, any man who doesn't say, "Is still okay," you know, "Is still okay?" It's my Russian accent. But, I think it gets like, it's called smut because because it appeals to women, and it's not just, like, a bunch of when my older son was we were starting watching Game of Thrones together, at some point, we realized that he wasn't following the plot. He was, like, 13, and I was just like, "Why the fuck is he like he's such a smart boy." And then we realized that in those first seasons of Game of Thrones, there was so much exposition done during the sex scenes. There was always, like, prostitutes with bare boobs and people fucking, and he just couldn't pay attention. He couldn't multitask. So after those exposition sex scenes, we would pause and we'd be like, "Okay, honey, this is what they said." But the heated rivalry sex scenes are about longing and love and satisfaction and tenderness, and so we that gets painted as smut when, Marlo Stanfield his, like, big schlong can, like, bob across the screen, and that's just what? Art?
I mean,
You have a Bisquick question, which is interesting. I want you to
my
answer that.
daughter
Someone
gave me a
says
recipe, for vanilla scones using Bisquick instead of flour, and it works really well. What do you think? Baby, like, I think if Kate McDermott answered it beautifully. If it works, baby, do it, which could also be a theme for heated rivalry, and everything else we watch. Yeah, absolutely. Does it make it easier for you? Great. Does it save you from measuring your all the dry ingredients and save you 5 minutes? Awesome. I feel the same way about box cake mixes. Do I think you can make a delicious box cake mix from scratch? I mean, a delicious vanilla cake from scratch in absolutely no time? Yes. Do you like the taste maybe of box cake mix because that's what your grandmother made? Who am I?
I have, like, a Proustian Madeline response to a yellow cake.
Me
Um
too.
And I don't even know whether you'd call it vanilla. What is the flavor of yellow? It's yellow. It's
Yeah.
yellow cake.
I actually saw an
So
interview with Paul, what's his face? Someone tell me from a British baking show. And he was like, and they're like
I'm
making
so
him.
old. Paul what? What's his name?
I just wanted to,
Paul.
I'll tell you why I forgot his last name because I started thinking about his blue eyes. Okay. And that's truly where my ADHD brain went. So, so sue me. You know what I mean? He has nice blue eyes.
Paul
Oh.
Hollywood. How could we have forgotten that name? It's such a ridiculous name. Oh my god.
Everyone
Such
at
an
once
idiot.
is like, oh my God, Hollywood. But I am
It's not
making
like his name was
delicious.
Steinberg. Okay, Paul. Yes. So you saw an interview with Paul Hollywood.
And somebody said, "What do you think of this box cake mix?" And he's like, "What's the flavor?" It's a yellow cake mix. And he was like, "What flavor is yellow?" And I'm like, it's not uranium, which is another kind of yellow cake, but it is yellow flavor. It's yellow flavor. It's like vanilla
It's
e.
not really vanilla.
It's
I guess vanilla adjacent?
eh. um
Maybe.
if you want to go for that sort of flavor in your cake, my recommendation is to add vanilla. And here's the secret, I'll lean in. A little bit of lemon extract, pure lemon extract, a little bit, like a quarter to a lemon extract along with a teaspoon of vanilla. You're going to get a really nice, almost yellow cake flavor. True story.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try that.
I'm going to glaze my
My mother
scones now.
used to call herself a baker, and in my memory, she has never once baked anything from scratch. Uh, she didn't do Duncan Hines. She did Betty Crocker cake mixes,
Nice.
and those chop up the cookies, and in the cookies in the tube. Um, but she would she would just be like, "Oh, it's just as good." And then the first time she ever tasted, like, because I like to bake. And, the first time she ever tasted one of my cakes, she did not have the emotional and, gustatory response that I expected, which is, "You're fucking amazing. Oh my god, I can't believe I spent my life eating like, digging box cakes." She was just like, "Oh, I like mine better."
uh, well, that's what you need to react to
"Oh,
become a
I
better
liked
person.
mine better," is in a nutshell. Roxanne.
Um, so sex scenes aside, the
I did write it's interesting because I had a reaction to the heated rivalry sex scenes, which is not usual for me. Usually I fast forward these sex scenes because I'm kind of like those guys. They skeeve me out. I
yeah,
have misophonia, which I'm totally tormenting all of you guys who have misophonia because I'm like,
yeah.
slurping my tea and blowing my nose. Misophonia is when you have a really strong reaction to noises, specifically like food noises or
Chewing.
bodily noises, chewing. Um, and curiously not to my own, I can listen to myself slurp and cough, but
Oh,
other
my
people,
was a food critic for a long time, and I have misophonia.
oh my
So
god.
like
I
being
mean,
with other people or watching people going,
oh, horrible, 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 just disgusting. Um,
bye,
Bye,
Kate.
Kate. Enjoy your estate sales. Um, so so in normally, I just fast forward through the sex scenes. I can't stand them. I find them boring. Nothing gets accomplished. And the same thing is true with writers. My favorite writers write the worst fucking sex scenes. There's a prize given out every year to like the worst sex scene ever in literature, like of that year. Franzen has won it. All of these people have won it. Um, and I hate writing them myself, but like something about the heated rivalry sex, just it's because it is about longing and about intimacy and about the, resolution of that limerence state, and I found it it wasn't like I was, like, hot. It was that I was so satisfying, and I have a sex scene. This is for Kate. 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. Don't forget, if you order it, email me directly at ayeletwaldman@gmail.com, and I'll send you a mug. Um, uh I had a sex scene in there, and I for the longest time, the manuscript said what it just said TK, which is an old journalistic term, to come,
To
and it's
come.
TK because TC, if you search for it, there are too many of them, but TK is a letter combination that you never find, so if you're just searching TK, you'll always find your missing thing, and it would just say, "TK fucking, TK fucking, TK fucking," and, but finally I was like, "Alright, well, I have to write this sex scene, and now I really know my characters, and I know what grosses me out, and I know what I wanna see, and what I want is less body, more head." Like, I want us
Do you
to
mean
get across.
when you say head, you actually mean
No,
head?
I don't mean
Okay,
I mean head.
just I wanted to be clear for everyone. And oh, look, here's my daughter. Anyway, go on.
Yes, like, does she wanna see me do my yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
What I was trying to do is, like, get what are the emotional experiences they're having as the sex that they've been anticipating for so long, for the whole book, is finally realized. And so, it was so much less about, like, he grabbed her breast. I find that in books written by men with male point of view characters, the women are always like, "She fondled her breasts," or I'm like, "I don't know about she looked at her breasts in the mirror." Dude, there's,
No, she
like,
didn't.
not a
No,
lot
she
of breast
didn't.
fondling. We might be doing, like, a breast cancer self-exam, but we're not, like but it was really a challenge. It took me longer to write that than any other, like, sort of scene in the book because I didn't wanna write anything that would gross me out. I didn't wanna write I wanted you to feel that sense of limerent satisfaction. I wanted it to
Yes.
be the payoff. Um, and, I was so worried. So I I asked a couple, I'm sure you have this too. You probably have both bakers and readers. I have a couple of readers I really trust. And that was one of the things I said to them. I said, "Did I get the sex scene right?" And they were like, "Yeah, yeah, good job." So,
Okay. I think that's a really interesting insight into it, and I think probably why I don't like reading the sex scenes that people I know have written, right? Like, I just like,
oh my
that
god, wait. My husband's first novel is a, gay romance that features an anal sex scene. So, as our kids got older, he was published when he was 23 in the first book. He wrote it as his MFA thesis. As our kids grew old enough to read him, our oldest daughter read the book. She was so horrified. She issued, and not because the 2 men, because of specifically the anal and the lubricant. She issued a family-wide fatwa fatwa that nobody is allowed to read any of dad or mom's books, and that held for many, many, many years. Yeah.
Rose, when you said you'll enjoy the little one in my memoir related to bread starter,
Is it
wow,
an olfactory scene, Rose? Is it an olfactory scene?
interesting. My
Bread starter. Oh, look, look. So that's how far apart. Okay.
They're all far apart. They're glazed with an egg glaze, and because you're not here to eat them, I put cinnamon sugar on top of them because, yeah, I know, but
Cinnamon.
she hates cinnamon. It's like my father. But to give it a little crunch on top. And they're not the peach ones. The peach ones get the nice butter glaze.
What is a butter glaze? Is it just butter and sugar?
This butter glaze is melted butter, brown sugar, confectioner sugar, heavy cream, that sort of thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Will you put
Um,
a pop a recipe for the peach scones? Send out a
I
recipe for the peach scones too.
the peach scone recipe will go into my Substack later today.
Great.
Um,
Explosive. Oh my God, Rose, you're freaking me out so hard right now. I can't even. I'm like, my mind is going to all sorts of terrible places.
I know. Um,
Oh, I should
I
tell you what I do in film scripts when I have sex
yeah.
scenes because um I think that's actually it's even funnier. And this is in the script I hand in. I say, I'll write, "They fuck, insert in your imagination the thing that'll make your mom turn off the TV." But now I don't think I can because everybody's mom loved except my mom. Everybody's mom loved TV Rivalry, so I have to find a new way to say that because I just screenwriting is such a different beast, and, it's all like, "This happened, and this happened, and this happened," and it would be like, "He plunged his cock between her legs, he grabbed her breast with his left hand, he yanked hard." I can't wait to Jacob Tierney, the author the guy who wrote and directed all of Heated Rivalry, is a good friend of my friends Semi and Mike, and Mike is in fact writing this second season with him. And I'm gonna make them send me one of the scripts because I wanna see how he wrote out the sex scene because it cannot be in that, like, "Then he grabbed her nipple with his," it has he
Yes.
has to have done that in a way that's like maybe
Speaking
it
of
just lifted
nipples,
mar language from the novel.
thank you, Judy Cakes. I'm glad you are a breast cancer survivor and going to help at a cancer fair. Thank you. Um,
Alright, Lynn, send me your address, I'll send you a mug.
Um, all right. So, Judy, I hope you like that segue too. Thank you for doing what you're doing. Okay. So writing those scenes are crazy. My question is Heated Rivalry. Did you read the books and are the sex scenes as intense
I
there?
haven't I haven't read the books. Has anybody read the book? I haven't read the books. I haven't read the books, I don't want to, my experience is so perfect
Yeah.
with the that I don't wanna muddy it. I mean, maybe I will down the road, but right now I'm having such a transcendent experience with the show. It's interesting, somebody pointed out that the author was diagnosed with Parkinson's, and this is like the best rags to riches story I've ever heard in
Yeah.
literature. She was, like, self-publishing. She got diagnosed with this terrible illness, and now she's on this, like, massive she's, strapped across on a rocket ship and going into space with success, and I love it when an older woman stands by her vision and
Mhm.
succeeds, because
Yeah.
my whole theory is that there is no power as, uh profound as that of a woman whose children have left the nest because we're smart, we're experienced, and we got time to do all sorts of shit.
So we suddenly find ourselves with all this time
Yeah.
to do this stuff. Um, I I am also a big fan of any person over the age of 50, 55, even older than that, who really ends up making it. And I wonder, I hope that now that there's this big attention being paid finally to menopause, that maybe that's going to bring more attention to the positives of older women.
I hope
instead of
so. I mean, I feel like menopause has been monetized in this way that
oh, sure.
concerns me, and hopefully we will also get the benefit of it being, uh, of attention being to those of us who have gone through it. I would like to see, I would like to see my husband go through, like, a fraction of the menopausal symptoms. You know how, like, when they strap
Yeah.
those things
The
on
cramp
that have
makers
them
on men,
cramp makers so they can experience what an actual period cramp is, and they all fall to the ground shrieking with agony?
but on level 2, right?
Yeah,
And then they, like,
exactly.
ramp it up to level 10, and they're like, "What?"
Yeah.
Yeah,
And when a woman puts on level 10, she's like, "Yeah, that's, like, on day 2 of my period, just
right.
FYI." So, I feel like the same thing is true, like, if we manage to do some of our best work at this age. I mean, check it out, Rose, 1,000, yeah.
Sure.
This is my best novel by far. Like, I love it.
It is
It's definitely my best novel,
fantastic. It is a
and I wrote
fantastic
that
read.
novel when I was 59 years old. So, you know fuck it. That's awesome. I'm really proud.
Yeah. I mean, writers do get better. It really is. It's like athletes do get better, but at a certain age, they don't get better, right? Because they become decrepit. Different for writers.
Right. I mean, at some point, I'll become demented, I'm sure. I mean, there was a point where you're reading Philip Roth and you're
Exclude.
like, "I think it's time. I think I've seen the word prostate and blowjob in the same sentence a few times in this manuscript, so I think it's time. Maybe go for more walks, less prose." But, hopefully not for a while. Kanahora. Do you guys know what Kanahora means? It's like a way to avoid the evil eye. And, in some parts of the Jewish Pale, they say K'nai Nahora, in some parts they say Kenahora. So, that's like our constant mantra. Anytime you say anything that you want to make sure nobody, the fates don't put the evil eye on you. So I've got all these little kids who are just muttering, Kenahora all the time. I remember when my daughter came home from preschool and she was like, "Mommy, polka is not an English word."
Oh,
Polka means your thighs. So, yeah.
I never heard the word polka.
You never heard the It's because 'cause you're a fancy Jew.
Oh,
You got
totally.
your we're a fancy Jew. We're
My
from,
mother's
like,
an Episcopalian Jew,
oh,
basically.
yeah, no. This is, like, dirt Yiddish for the people whose parents were, like, tailors, uns or his, like, grandparents. My grandfather was, like, a failed tailor, the other grandfather was a failed fur cutter. This is for the Jews who, like, crawled out of Poland and Belarus and Ukraine on their fingernails, and, not for those fancy German and Hungarian Jews who were so, like, dusting off their furs on their way across the ocean.
Yeah, that didn't happen. That wasn't definitely not my father's father was illiterate and, made brushes. So, it involves using your thighs when dancing. Um, and but it's my mother's side of the family that were the German Jews who were like, "We're better than all of you." That's those people. Does anybody even know, like, the weirdness? Anyway, we'll explain that to you on another episode of We're Not Quite What You Think We Are. Jews, we're not quite what you expect of us. Uh, um,
So the next time we get together, can we do this deep dive into butter?
we can definitely do a deep dive into butter, and you can ask me all your questions about butter. It will not be used as a vaginal suppository. However, it is a very, very bad idea. And I
Can we
can't
and
even
we also have to talk if we're talking butter, we have to talk about how much butter French people put on their baguettes, because it's basically the same amount of as you would put cheddar cheese. It's, like, my favorite thing about France. Like a
me too.
chunk, like, slab of butter.
My mother would do it with a Ritz cracker. We would have like we'd be sitting around waiting for dinner to cook. She'd be reading a book. I'd be reading a book. We were a little hungry. We'd get out the Ritz crackers, and she would cut a chunk of butter and put it on top, as if it were cheddar cheese. Gotta. I mean, she lived to be like
And my
90.
mother was very devoted to margarine. I didn't
Oh,
have butter until I was in high school.
oh yeah, that was same here. Fleischmann's.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
Gugh. All right. Uh, Anybody have any questions for us or Katie?
yeah,
My
let's
daughter
take
is
some last
here.
questions.
How many times have you watched Heated Rivalry? 8 or 9? Ayelet has watched it 11 times. She said
11
11
times,
times.
which is actually when you have to stop, it turns out.
11 is the time.
Unless there's someone else who's done it more than me, I'd love to hear.
Have you read the books? How does the book I don't really want you to talk about the sex word because you are my daughter, but how does it translate from book to screen?
The way I talk about
No, she doesn't want to be shown on camera. Here, you're talking to the
the way I think about the show versus the books is you had to have a woman writing the books, but you had to have a gay man creating the TV show.
Talk
Is
to me.
my
Why?
take on
Why?
it.
That is very insightful. Tell me why.
Because you have sort of more of a woman's sensibility on yearning, on pining, on the beats of a romance story. But then to
Uh-huh.
translate it into something believable for the audience, you have to have someone with that own experience to then take this almost fantasy of because romance is basically the fantasy genre. Um,
Right.
so you have to then have someone who has that own experience to then take the fantasy of the book and ground it in reality. I have
That's very
read
insightful.
Thank you, thank you. I have read the first book, the, Scott Hunter and Kip book, um, and I'll be honest,
What's your
I
favorite?
mean
Like, if I wanted to try to read one, which one should I read?
well, I've only read that one. I own Heated Rivalry, and I'm, saving that as a treat to read it, but honestly, I preferred episode 3 to the book. I mean, I'm not a big romance reader, but I love television. And I
Could
think what
you
Jacob
maybe
here yeah.
tell me if you try reading one book and then if it changes your mind about romance? It's not really romance. It's like a
Ah.
literary novel that
Mhm.
also has a marriage plot in it. What do you
See,
think?
I'd read that. This is, to
Oh,
me,
what are you
the
gonna
heated
say, doll? No. Ugh, mom's friend. I'm not gonna fucking read your book. Leave me alone. That's because you raised better children than me, Marissa. My daughter would be like, "No, thank you." I
well, the di
don't I've
the
played
difference
it.
with your book is that
Yeah.
Yes.
me?
Yeah.
You.
The difference with your book is?
The difference with your book is it has a real cover. Like, the romance books I'm talking about are the ones that have those, drawn in Procreate people with no texture, and
Yes.
they all the covers look the same. Like, that, it looks like a real novel to me.
Thank you. I hope it is. Listen, so, I got the I think I told you guys this last week, but I got the idea for this book for my daughter.
Mhm.
She, I'd been trying to write a book for a decade, couldn't write a book, couldn't write a book, couldn't write a book. I was starting things, throwing them away. I wrote a bunch of television in the time. Maybe we'll do an hour where we talk about like the real gritty, nitty ugliness of TV, the underbelly of making television as a writer. Um, but then my daughter was like, "Mom, you always say to me, write what you want to read. And you love Jane Austen. You love every, if it's got a crinoline and a bodice, you're there. Just write a book about a marriage plot, like set in, Victorian England or set in Regency England, but don't make it be about the lord and lady, make it be about the servants." I was like, "Oh my God, that's genius." And as soon as she said that to me, I wrote it super fast. And then I asked her, I had sent her the manuscript, and I'm like, did you like it?" She's like, "Oh, yeah, it's great." And then she listened to the Juliet Stevenson audiobook. Okay, so remember, she said, "Oh, yeah, it's great." And this is what I got from her. "Ugh, mom, your book is so good. Way to take my dumb-litted little lighthearted romp and make me weep at the end." Quote, "Oh, wouldn't it be clever if a lady's maid and a valet did a marriage plot? I say, accidentally plotting my own emotional doom." So that's an incredibly amazing blurb, but as a Jewish mother, I'd also like to point out she fucking lied to me. She didn't read it before. But I'm really happy she liked it.
It's
It was
okay. I
very
don't think
satisfying.
I'm sure my children haven't looked through my book either.
Have they baked? They bake one of your recipes though, right?
No, they
Surely they
haven't.
have.
Surely they
No?
have.
No? Look, Michael bakes from this recipe book, from this recipe box. This is
That's
his recipe box. It's his
oh,
mom. All of these are
oh.
his mom's recipes, and one year we do this thing called Secret Maccabee, which everybody it's like Secret Santa, but for Jews. It's because we stopped giving everybody Hanukkah presents. And one year for Secret Maccabees, Sophie, the one who didn't read my book but then listened to it and loved it, she laboriously, copied out all the recipes and attached a card with the copied out recipe to the old disintegrating recipe, so he wouldn't lose that, disintegrating one, but then he'd also have it to cook from. Isn't that the sweetest thing you've ever seen?
That is tremendously sweet. That is the nicest present to give somebody.
I know, she's great. She's wonderful.
She as great as you, Kate? She's
Is she as
different.
great as you, Kate? Well, I'll know whether once I find out. Kate, there will be a quiz. Let Kate know that there will be a quiz.
There will be a quiz on this, Kate.
A multiple choice, and AI won't be able to answer it. I'll be putting your answers through an AI detector.
As we all do. So I have to take the scones out of the oven very shortly. I'm sure these other people want to go and read your book, and I highly recommend. I don't know how are you going to spend your afternoon?
I'm going
Making
to crawl
yourself
into bed and just read. I'm reading. One of the great exciting things about being a novelist is you get early galleys of other people's books. And I got an early copy of Hernan Diaz, who wrote Trust, his new book called Ply. And I started it last night. I had taken 2 NyQuil, so I woke up this morning with it like on my face. So I'm gonna crawl back in bed and read Hernan Diaz, and I'm gonna my delightful servant slash husband. Oh my God, he made me chicken soup from scratch, obviously, chopped off the top of his finger with a Madeline. Yeah. Not enough to reattach, but too much to, like, heal normally. So, he has a a permanent injury from making but it's really yummy. It's really good chicken soup.
I mean, it is
Yeah.
one way to get attention.
I
And
know. He's very good when I'm sick, and I'm very bad when anybody is sick. I'm like,
no, I'm just saying
"Get
it's
it
one way
together."
him to get attention while you're sick. Jeez. You
His
can't
love
even have a
language
moment.
is service, and my love language is being served, and there, in a nutshell, is the success of a 34-year relationship. We should do that. We should talk about bogus love languages. Would you guys be interested in us doing this once a month? We are entertaining ourselves, but I
Very.
don't know if we're entertaining you.
Please
Let us
let us
know.
where are the little hearts, people? Well, I'll see you in a month. It'll be you and me, and we'll talk about butter.
I'll
No,
let Marissa do her own if you don't want me to come back. It's okay. It's
no, people are saying nice things. Look at that.
okay, thank God.
Jeez, that was a tough crowd, man.
No,
No.
you can't not respond immediately to a Jewish girl from New Jersey
Oh
who
my
had a
God.
really hard time in high
2 New Ju
school.
2 Jewish
2
girls in New
Jewish girls
Jersey.
from New Jersey who
I
had
was
gone
picked
through, like,
last.
junior high cafeteria. When we look for validation, you have to immediately validate because if, I don't know, Deirdre Brown is on this list, it was very traumatic.
Yeah. I'm not even gonna mention the names because some of them still follow me on Facebook, but it's traumatic. Anyway, yeah, someday I'll talk about my yeah. Well, I think that's one of the reasons that I've ended up the age I am, and sometimes my brother David will say to me, "What more validation do you need?" I'm like, "But I he wasn't in the gym class with me, getting picked last."
I know. Plus boys, whatever. Oh,
Yeah.
look, somebody said that this is
Oh,
a serious thing. Your interview with retired Lieutenant General Mark Hertling compelled me to buy his book and seek out his many appearances since, especially on the Bulwark, where his book will be featured. That's really lovely.
that is lovely. He is one of the
Kind of a
nicest.
different experience than what we got today. Let's
A little bit of the difference, yeah. But, both of you inspired my cookbook. Did I mention I've written a cookbook, and authors
Yes.
need to sell a lot of cookbooks in order to get another book deal. It's the
Yes,
unfortunate
buy the
truth.
cookbook, and it has changed I mean, like, it's changed my life, the Chris Oh, before we go, remember last week we were diagnosing what was wrong?
Yes,
Look what I bought, and my cookie problems are all
we were diagnosing what's wrong with her cookies, and
all
that's
my
not a
cookies
euphemism.
spreading. They were
Not a
all
euphemism.
spreading, and it wasn't the butter, I was doing everything right, and it turned out to be my piece of shit Blue Star oven. Let me
Yes.
just spin this around. Look
Ah,
what I bought.
there. Oh, a Breville. I bet that's a Breville. Look, you can show
Yes,
me it.
I bought this Breville, like, convection oven thing. It takes up a huge amount of counter space. It's ridiculous to have to own that when you own an oven, but I'm too cheap to replace my stove, so, I bought that, and I can only do, like I can't do that many cookies at once. It's gonna be rough when I'm making 12 different kinds of cookies at Christmas. I might have to just, I don't know, go to a neighbor's house to bake off my cookies. But it was the oven. It was the oven the whole time, Marissa. Don't buy a Blue Star. Anybody on this list, do not buy a Blue Star. It
I
was the
have to
oven.
say, I diagnosed it from the minute you said to me, I said, "You don't by any chance have a Blue Star oven?" And you went, "Yes, I do." And it's it's not necessarily just a Blue Star, but it's the fact that your oven is gas, and a gas oven varies in temperature all the time. It's always trying to come up to speed as opposed to a nicer, steadier, um,
Right. So
electric oven.
someday when enough of you buy my book that I can afford it, I'm gonna buy a stove that has an electric oven. And, I mean, I have to decide whether I'm gonna do convection range top. I feel like I should from an environmental point of view. I'm a
Induction?
little nervous.
Induction? Yep,
Induction, yeah, induction range top. We could talk about that another time.
yep.
But, and then I'm gonna sell that Blue Star. Do you think I have to say in the Facebook Marketplace ad, "This stove sucks ass"?
Um,
Do you think, like, honesty requires me, or can I just be like, "Hey, a cherry red Blue Star oven currently on sale. It's tripled in price since I bought it. It's selling for so much." Do you think I
yeah,
could just be like, "Hey," or do you think I have to say, "You will never bake a decent cookie again if you buy this piece of shit from me"?
I think you have to remember that a lot of people don't bake. They just want it for
So
the
they don't care.
terrific they don't care.
Alright, I'll
Um,
put that. It was like when I sold my childhood minivan, my kids the minivan I raised my kids in.
and
I
that
said,
with
"This minivan stinks. Don't try to bargain me down."
yeah, we
Look at
had the same
them.
thing. It's
Look how
lovely
perfect.
yeah,
It's
it's a
so
lovely
beautiful. Now
looking
you're gonna put the
scone.
glaze on, right? Or did you already?
Well, these I'm not gonna glaze because I
How
covered them
come?
already in sugar, so I figured
Okay,
that's overkill. But the peach ones, they get a delicious glaze.
wonderful.
Okay. Lovely people of Earth. Um, it's been great to see you all. Go out and do something really nice for yourself. Find your own limerence. That's what I say. Find yourself some
Absolutely.
healthy limerence.
And reach
Because
out on Substack. I'll be in
limerence
bed all day. All I wanna do is talk to people.
and I have to say, this is something I meant to mention earlier, but limerence, I think, is gives me the same sort of positive limerence, gives me the same sort of boost as like vitamins or like it really does release dopamine and cortisol. Like there is an actual physical response to it,
Totally.
which is why I think it is so ooh la la. Um, find yourself some limerence,
Well,
even
I'm
if
gonna
it's
go
with
find some sources of limerence to help me through this cold.
I'm gonna find
Bye,
some scones.
everybody.
See you, everyone. Thank you very much, and I'll have
Thank you
the
for joining
recipe
us.
up on my Substack, marissarothkopf.substack.com, by this evening. See you all. Feel better.
Thank you.
Bye bye. Thanks, everybody.